Greetings! Welcome everybody to Smartwatch Tics, a channel dedicated to smartwatches and ancillary devices like smart bands and things. We're expanding, We are in the smartwatch arena today as we unveil a brand new product, yet another one of the, wow, nice box, of the smartwatches that fall into a class we like to call the KW98, because it's kind of the trailblazer of that watch. And this one comes to us from Geekbuying. Today's sponsor is bringing us the Makibes Talk-T1. That's the designation for this watch that we've seen before in a format called the KW98 and also the Limfo, LEF1, I believe. And this is another iteration of it, but different, which is why we brought it in, so you have choice in this form factor of which of these watches you would like. Again, Geekbuying is providing us the watch, and if you like this watch, and a darn good price too, check the show notes down below for a link to come over here and buy it, and if we can even give you a better price with a coupon, we'll have that there too. What's in it? The Talk-T1 is a standard, about 1.4-inch AMOLED screen device with 512 megabytes of RAM, and 8 gigabytes of ROM, or internal memory. That's the same configuration we're seeing on all of these pretty much identical watches. And there's the hardware, the functions, connectivity, including 3G, although we will be talking about that here shortly. Media formats, battery, and all the other stuff. Okay, let's get inside and take a look at this watch. Definitely different packaging. Look at this presentation box. Very nice, very elegant. It's totally different than usually how you just see the watch face. Here you see it with the band, and it's on a little card, and it's laying on the card in a way that they've looped the band underneath. So I got to pull it out and lift it up to get it out. I like that. Elegant, different. Take the front cover off and take a look. Yeah, looks very similar. One button, microphone, speaker, charger, heart rate monitor, and the one distinctive new feature is the name on the cover for the SIM card. Other than that, the bands, everything look basically the same as the watches we've already reviewed, which if you're interested again in this kind of a watch, be sure to watch those as well, because in each of the videos I'm bringing in something new to show you, as we will do on this one. There's the prototype KW98 and then the LEF1 and now the Makibes Talk-T1 that we're looking at here. Okay, what else is in here? A user's manual. Small one, but good enough to get you going. Here's some notes, basic operating procedures. What happens when you press button. The settings for the watch faces. And so forth. Bluetooth synchronization. Okay. The tethering capabilities, which are limited with the watch. Once again, a reminder to everybody, this is a standalone smartwatch phone. So if you really want to use it for phone functionality and SMS texting, it's not meant to tether to your phone to do that. None of these Android types are. It's meant to work in a standalone mode when you insert its own SIM back here, okay? Also, the bands, although they look like they could be removable, are not. They are not removable. Got confirmation from Pablo11, our tech expert over at the Pro Boards. We'll have a link to the Pro Boards down below too, and highly recommend you go there to research any technical information on these watches. The antennas are actually looped inside of these round oval things here, and the bands are wrapped around that, but the antennas are still protruding to get some signal from the watch itself inside of here. So you're not able to disconnect and take off the bands and replace them. And they only have a small selection of what comes with each of the watches. But there is a bit of color choice depending on the body that you choose. So check, again, the show notes and then look at what's available to you to order. Black, silver, whatever. Here's the charging connector, and it's standard across the board. Most all of these watches now are going to this standard configuration. It's a good solid connection. They're large-sized copper dots that line up perfectly with the pins, and you can order extra of these from a lot of different sources now. You don't have to get it necessarily from Makibes or Limfo or wherever, because they're all interchangeable, which is really, really good to see. Okay, that's what's in the box, and now it's time to take a look at what's inside the watch. I brought along his friends so we can compare these guys here in a little bit. Let's give it a shot, turning on the Makibes watch. It's going with the standard boot-up screen that we've seen on the KW98 prototype. Has a little bit of an audio beginning. And Android. Sometimes the companies put their own startup on there. Sometimes they don't. The default is what you just saw. Okay. It's going to start up the apps and get us all ready to go. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and fire these up as well. You notice the Limfo and the KW98 startup screen process. And we come into an initial watch face, one of several that are on this particular watch. While those are booting, let's take a look at these. I'm going to go back to the beginning. And Makibes has got their own logo on them. So we have a small digital time with a nice big picture. We have an analog watch. Oh, by the way, the weather up here is showing. Step count, battery percentages, those things are showing up. Another one. This one's fun. This one's really different. I have not seen this before. By the way, if it acts like I know what I'm looking at, it's because after I charged it, I took a look at all of these things. So I have seen these watch faces. Sometimes I'm totally surprised, and I love that, seeing them first time on camera with you. But this time I decided to check a few things out, and in order to do that, I had to get in here to make this review go a little bit faster, because I know you guys have got things to do. So some of these we've seen before, and some we haven't. These you're all very familiar with. A good recommendation was don't go into each and every one of them, but I kind of have to in order for you to actually see it on the screen. So I'm doing it, but I'm doing it quicker. There's that little rotating whirlwind thing. And this one, yeah. Now these are all very common, familiar watch faces. The beginning ones that had Makibes' name on them and that flashy one are definitely new and unique to this watch. So all things being equal, if you wanted to buy any of these, you might just end up choosing based on watch face. Here's where we can hit that little plus sign and add watches from the server. And this is that little special thing that Pablo 11, again with the Pro boards, helped to implement to reset all of the watch face information to prevent the watch from getting locked up in case you accidentally installed a custom face and it got on a screen and it didn't work right and it went black and you couldn't get out of it. And we've seen that before happen, and people had to learn how to flash their watches. But now with that little addition, a huge addition actually when you need it, there's no problem anymore. Okay, so we're back to the opening watch face. I want to run through what it looks like. It's typical on all of these. This is what you see on these different pages. Again, volume up or silent. This is the twist your wrist to see the time, airplane mode, cellular data, location services, GPS. That's your brightness in mid, low, or bright, and good range on that. Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Fresh out of the box, this is not on any network, so we're just taking a quick look at what it has inside. Notifications would be here. These are all of your apps. This is your music player. And just to show you, the music player is one place that these guys change, okay? Not much that they can do, but they do change the way the music player looks. This is the old classic way that you would have the apps that you would scroll through, and a more modern way is to have them curved like this. Whoops. And so these are starting to show that curve capability in here. Well, I have sticky fingers. I keep hitting them. Speaking of apps, then, let's go in and take a look at... Oh, yeah, there's one more thing I need to show you on there. So we went left for notifications. We went right and right. And if we go down, we get to the weather. That's where the weather would be. And no left or right from there. And from above, you have those 3 panels, 3 dots here that show you what your panels are. Same on all of them. Okay. Now, in terms of apps, we have contacts, phone, and messaging that goes with the SMS. We have a settings app. Even the icons are the same here. Browser, your basic built-in browser, a calendar and clock. The gallery, which we're going to show you something on that. Music, your installed music, a sound recorder, the simple one that you can use. Your file manager, which is where you see what kind of memory you've got on there. This has got 5.13 gigabytes, if that's coming through. It might be kind of bright. Trust me on that. 5.13, it says, out of 8. So you can tell it's an 8 gigabyte watch when you subtract off the operating system and other stuff, and you're left with about 5 some odd gigabytes of space. Same on these. They're all 512 megabyte RAM and 8 gigabytes of total memory. Then you have your health apps, your weather, a voice search system that when you are on Wi-Fi, you can implement voice search, which is your basic Google search, the Google Play Store, and Maps. Then the connect to the phone is the QR code that you need to scan. Yes, you can do that right off of YouTube. If you want to do that and download the tethering app, you can, and take a look at it. Find out how limited it is. Actually, it is. And I say that with affection because we've had that problem on all of these Android watches. Here, it tells you how to do it. Open it, and then click the button and the Bluetooth, and it pairs up. So it's got a nice little system for pairing everything up there. Remote capture, where you can take a picture with your phone. The music control for playing music on your phone, and your find your device if you've lost your phone. Okay, and then you can switch platforms between Apple or Android depending on which type of phone you have. And you choose it, and you say next, and switch the platform and restart the watch. Okay, then let's take a quick look also at settings. Settings is typical. You have a sound area where you can adjust the volumes of the watch. In your media, your alarms, and your ringer volume. You've seen all that. The display, same kind of thing, where you can adjust the sleep. Now, app adaptation is an interesting thing. We're still trying to figure that out. Apparently, this is a firmware update across the board that's going to be able to work with and enhance the ability to work with some third-party apps. My understanding from Pablo 11, again, from the Pro boards, turn it off or turn it on, switch it, and then reboot the watch for it to take effect. It works at that deep level, but it is an adaptation that affects the fonts and the viewing on the apps. There, you learned something new in this review that you won't see in those others. And app layout style, you can have it in list or round, and we've showed you the round before. It slips over to something like that. The connectivity, here's where I'm going to talk a little bit about some stuff. You get your Wi-Fi, and you can make a Wi-Fi hotspot in airplane mode and so forth, and cellular networks, which is grayed out right now, comes alive when you have a SIM card inside the watch. And if you watched the previous video, you found out that we had a challenge with cellular related to the LEF1 running AT&T in the USA with a SIM that's provided for the 3G or higher network. And we didn't have that problem here. And now, so what the question is here. And I have tried it here. I'm not going to walk you through all that because it just wastes your time watching it. Here's the bottom line. In the old original KW98 prototype, I could put a SIM card in, make phone calls, text messages, and I could do cellular data. I could connect by the SIM card and get a small amount, under 2 megabytes per second, but nonetheless, I could do things like surf the web on this watch. On this watch, I could put in the SIM, and it would not recognize it at all. It would recognize it and show 3G bars on the display here, where you'd have the SIM card in. It would say it's got 3G, but it would not give you a connection for making a phone call, text messaging, and no data. Here on this one, when you put in a SIM, likewise, it shows up in that display area and gives you 3G on there. It does let you make phone calls and text messages, but it does not give me any connectivity via data. This is weird, everybody. This is the same watch. It's the same network. I'm in the same location with the same SIM card, moving between them all. No idea why I've got these complications. I checked the APNs. They match up. I know I'm getting technical, but just let me drop this on you. You have a unique situation, where you live, who's your carrier, and, all of the things that go into that. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. If you don't care about using the watch with a SIM card to make phone calls and use for data, then ignore the last 3 to 5 minutes and move on, because that's all about that. And each one of these are working differently. And that's one of the main reasons I brought this in, was to make sure that there's either consistency or no consistency, that we could make an assumption or not. And at this point, I cannot give you guidance on whether or not this class of watch is going to function properly for either phone calls, text messaging, or data transfer. But they all work great on Wi-Fi. They all work great on Bluetooth, when you use them in a Bluetooth type of a fashion. Again, not for making phone calls and receiving calls with your phone. They don't do that. None of them do that. But as far as Bluetooth goes, they work, for headphones and things like that. And they work great on location services with GPS. So all in all, you're looking at a nice watch. You're looking at a step up from the earlier type of KW88 in the way the band is designed and implemented, and you're looking at some unique watch faces different among all of the different watches. And so it's pretty much up to you what your choice is in terms of the style of watch, the color of it, the band color and design, and who you buy it from. And with that said, we'll wrap this up by saying Geekbuying is a location to pick up your Makibes Talk-T1. If you're looking for lowest price, shop on that kind of thing and check the show notes, because the prices are going to vary across the board. It's a Kingwear KW98 rebranded as a Talk-T1 or as a Limfo LEF1. But all in all, it's pretty much the same watch with some unique things related to different watch faces and cellular support for different carriers. All right, thanks for watching Smartwatch Ticks. We're trying to make these shorter little reviews, but pack them with good information. Oh yeah, one more thing before I let you go, and that has to do with the pictures and stuff. Somebody asked, do these watches have multi-point control? That means, can you pinch and zoom on pictures? Well, I tried on all of these and downloaded this picture, and no, yes and no. There, you saw me pinch and I could get in there, and now when I'm there, I can double tap it. It's really tricky. There is no per se pinch and zoom. I can slide around, and if I do some sort of a double tap, I can make the picture bigger, right? But I can't squeeze it and expand it. So I'm pretty sure there's no multi-touch on any of these watches. But what you're seeing here on this one, Works the same on these other two exactly. So just by way of demo, that's another feature to consider comparing this watch platform with the other type of watches that you could buy that may have multi-touch capability. All right, now I'll let you go. Come on back. We got more coming. We'll see you soon.